What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Michael Balko Show. You know who the host is. It's your boy. Come on now. But today I am joined by 2023 NFL draft prospect, the former wide receiver for Oklahoma State University, and the fastest player. I said it, the fastest player in the 2023 NFL draft, Braydon Johnson. How we doing, brother?
We're doing real good today, man. How everybody doing? I'm feeling lovely.
Yes,
On
sir. Yes, sir. Blessed and highly favored, as always. So
right.
first and foremost, we got to rep the hometown. Tell us about your hometown of Arlington, Texas, and what makes it unique.
Oh yeah, so Arlington a real unique place, man. I would just say it's a mixture of Dallas and Fort Worth. It's right in the middle. So being in Arlington, you kind of get a mixture of a different vibe of Dallas and Fort Worth. Both people, it's just like a big melting pot, man. It's every race there, every type of culture, everybody just coming together, and it's just a cool vibe, man. You see, I'm repping the Cowboys today, man. I grew up not too far from the stadium, so that's the hometown, man.
What's football like down there, bro? I know Texas high school football goes crazy. What was it like for you?
Yeah, man, it's super crazy, super competitive. You going into high school, you like 14, it's already 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds on varsity, so it's just super competitive. It's pretty comparable, just to coming into college and having to compete, with veterans of that nature. So yeah, it's just super competitive. The stands always packed out, man. It's a crazy environment. So yeah.
I like the Cowboy shirt, my boy. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, we ain't going to assume, but we're going
Yeah,
to assume. We're going to assume.
definitely.
You
Okay.
were you were a three-star recruit in high school, especially out there in Texas, bro. You know, balling out, getting a three-star. That means you were a dog. Three-star recruit in high school, had offers from Iowa, Utah State, Minnesota, obviously Oklahoma State, to name a few. Tell us about your recruiting process in high school and why you picked Oklahoma State.
My recruiting process was pretty smooth. I went with Oklahoma State because at that time, Casey Dunn was recruiting me, the head receiver coach, and I just like what they were doing up there, man. They had that spread offense. They was throwing the ball a lot. They had guys come in before Dez Bryant, of course. Everybody knows that. James Washington. Just some big names, Tylen Wallace. So just seeing that, man, that's really what did it for me. Just because I wanted to fit into a system that I knew would use me the way I was meant to be used, And I also got family in Oklahoma City, so it's kind of just all blended together, man. I talked to God a lot about it, and that was the best choice for me at that time, man, and it paid off well.
Most definitely. So you get there, you get to Oklahoma State, you redshirt your freshman year. For you, what was the biggest transition from high school to college football? Kind of what was your welcome to college moment like and all of that stuff?
So the biggest transition for me would just be the speed of the game. Of course, you going from being in high school. Of course, we're at the highest level with 6A. Everybody's fast, but when you get to the college level, everybody's fast. You know what I'm saying? So they taking the best of the best from every state from around the country. So just the speed of the game, just it's on a whole nother level. And with that being said, you have to adapt your mental as well to keep up with the speed of the game. So you kind of have to innovate your mental and make sure you're on track with the plays, get the plays down. The playbook grows so much bigger, So it's just super technical, man, and you just got to learn to adapt. That's the biggest thing is just adapting to the speed of the game and making sure you're mentally prepared so that you can slow the game down in your head once you understand it.
How did you how did you balance, the college life with, football? I know a football schedule, especially in college, is wild. It's just you're doing school and you're doing football and that's about it. So how did you adjust to that?
The main thing I would say was just balance. So I learned that pretty young. Just to have a balance of things, too much of anything is harmful. So I just learned, man. You can have fun at times, but it's always healthy to keep that balance, And by balance, I don't mean just 50-50. You got to find that sweet spot for you where you have, maybe it's 25-75, maybe it's 80-20, where you have time to relax and be there for yourself and, do things for pleasure and enjoyment. But other than that, it's a full-time job, man. From the time you wake up, I'd say just have a routine, and I keep them habits in place, and that's what allowed me to get to that next level, just mentally and just as a player, keeping those habits in place and just working on that self-discipline over the years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you finished your college career with over 1,700 all-purpose yards, 16.6 yards per catch, 8 tutties, um, tons of great plays, my boy. Like some of the most incredible contested catches I think I've ever seen in my life. How did it feel, first of all, to play at such a high level for as long as you did? And then what were some of your favorite college football memories? Take us back to the glory days.
Oh man, so it felt amazing. It's a feeling that's hard to explain. It's something I've never felt before, especially like getting my first touchdowns or just getting on the field for the first time. I still remember a lot of those moments. The biggest moment that probably I remember the most is the Texas game 2019. My coach threw me in there for a big shot down the field, and I knew that's what the play was. We kind of been practicing it all week, so I mean it was game time. He threw me in there, and before I ran out, he was like, "Don't drop it." So he just put all the pressure on me, man. So I just lined up, man. My heart was racing, ball was snapped, and then I just went black after that. From everything I practiced, it just kind of turned on. I ended up making like a 66-yard catch. It was like a contested catch. The DB was on my hip and stuff, but that was my first really big catch. Like my explosive catch or whatever, and that's really what did it. And ever since then, that just helped me gain so much confidence, man. Like I know I could do it after that. Like I felt the feeling. I got up, I was super hyped, and after that, I just kept going up after that.
I know you wanted to make a big play against Texas, bro. We talking about the home state, bro. They didn't give you the offer. You balled
Yeah.
out. You balled out. You had some good plays all together against Texas in your career, so
Mhm.
made them pay a little bit. Your college career's over. It's behind you. Now you're gearing up for your transition to the National Football League. That's crazy to say, right? What has this transition been like for you, and what does a normal day in your life look like right now?
Yeah, so the transition being super smooth, man. Shout out to my agency, Equity Sports. Shout out to Bomberitos, Pete Bomberito in Miami. He made it super smooth for me. I went out there and trained for like 12 weeks. Had us on a real strict diet and just a real strict workout plan too, and he was able to lay out a weekly plan, monthly plan, everything in advance to where we could actually see and be able to compare, the results of us coming in to, after the program. And he just really set me up and got me around. There was some other pro guys out there, but he just got me into the mind frame of being a pro, and like I don't have to wake up and go to school anymore. So now I'm waking up and I have to figure out what I'm doing with all this time. So he laid out, a template or a schedule that allowed me to frame my own routine as well based off of that. So really, I just wake up, get a good breakfast in, maybe do like some little warm up techniques, warm my hips, do some compression boots, something of that nature, and then I hit the workout. I go train, usually in the weight room for about 2 hours, do some field work for about 2 hours, and then I'll come back, have a good lunch, do some more little recovery things. And after that, man, I try to feed my mental as well. I'll read, I'll watch podcasts, just anything where I can learn to keep, sharpening my skills in and off the field. Then later on, I might do a little stretching at night, have a good dinner, do some stretching at night. But everything for me is just being intentional. From the time that I wake up to where are my thoughts at, and what am I putting my energy into? I want to make sure I'm cultivating, big things for the future to reach those goals.
Yeah, what you're doing is working because you went out there at your pro day, bro,
Yeah.
blazing 40-yard time, bro. That 40-yard time would have put you in the top 5 amongst all receivers in this draft class that got invited to the NFL scouting combine. Um, you know, First of all, it was a shame that you didn't get invited to the scouting combine. Second of all, how would you rank your speed in comparison to the other receivers in this draft class?
I say I'm the fastest. Like I put hands down. Anybody want to race, it's on the table. You know what I'm saying? Anybody want to challenge that, it's on the table. But like I said, I'm gonna stand on that. I know I'm the fastest in this class, man. It's well overdue. But I also, I'm still humble. I understand. I put what all the work that went into it, and I'm gonna continue to apply that pressure and keep putting that work in every day. Just to back that up.
Yes, sir. So after that incredible pro day, you do everything, you do it well. What teams are reaching out? If you're able to say and talk about it, who you've been talking to? How's the process been going for you? Kind of what does a pro day look like aside from the workouts? Just take us into all that stuff.
A few teams I would say are like the Cowboys, the 49ers, the Raiders, just to name, a few. But um kind of going through that process, it's just like the scouts, they just want to know what kind of person you are because at the end of the day, this is a job, this is a full-time job, this is a business. So it's like um teams don't want to make investments on just talent. They want to know what kind of person you are, how you gonna fit into the culture, how you'll fit into the program, how you'll fit into the locker room, your leadership skills, what your strengths and weaknesses, just as a person. So I mean, it's been pretty smooth. It hasn't been anything that's challenging. Like I said, I just go keep it real. At the end of the day, I feel like that'll take you the furthest. So, but it's been a smooth process for me.
If you had to compare your play style to any current receiver in the NFL, past or present, I guess I said current, but it could be past or present. Who would you compare your skill set to?
I would say receivers like Stefon Diggs, Christian Kirk, Odell. Of course, he's he's on another level, but just kind of size, body frame, movement style, kind of those are some guys that I look up to and that I want to frame my game after for sure.
So if you got the opportunity to play with one of those dudes, it'd be pretty
Yeah,
sick.
yeah, it'd be crazy, man.
That'd be sick. That'd be dope.
Right.
So tell us about a time where you had to overcome adversity, whether it's on the field, off the field, and how you overcame it.
Okay, so that's pretty easy, man. 2021, I missed the whole season due to a leg injury. And that was probably one of the most hardest things that I had to go through in my life, man, because basically it just happened, after game one. So it was just like in an instant, everything was football was kind of taken from me, and I didn't know if I was gonna be able to continue to play. So just in that moment, I just realized so much, man. It just allowed me to be more grateful for all my opportunities. And when I say that, I mean just waking up in the morning. That's just a blessing in itself. Being able to walk and be healthy. It just made me be super grateful, man, and super mindful of all the things that I'm already blessed with. That I might have took for granted in the past. So that was a huge shift for me, and it allowed me to propel myself forward and channel all the negative energy and turn it into some positive energy. So
Yeah,
that was yeah, that was the
yeah,
biggest thing, man, for sure. Like
yeah.
it was tough, but I got through it.
Most definitely. And that's tough, man. I think a lot of people, just the average fan that, maybe hasn't played football before or something, man, whenever you invest your entire life and, everything that you've kind of been known for your whole life into one thing, in your instance, football, it's so tough whenever you have a setback like that, especially when you're missing a whole season, because you're coming off a good career. At that point, like you're ready to have a huge season to potentially declare early for the NFL draft and be able to provide for your family quicker than you would have otherwise been able to. And it's just so tough, and then especially when you miss such a long period of time and you really have time to sit there, you're like, damn, bro, this is tough. So no, it's definitely something that I can sympathize with for sure. And I think more people should, they see the injuries pop up every single week, for people, and they're just like, oh, whatever, dude got hurt again. But like, it's a lot deeper
Yeah,
than that. I think people need to realize that.
most definitely.
So who is the best player that you've ever played with and against in your career?
Um, so to say the one I've played with, I would say Brendan Presley or Tylen Wallace. It's close. Both those guys are super talented, super electric. Got slightly different playing styles, of course, with Tylen being on the outside, Brennan being on the inside. But those are definitely the top two guys that I've played with, that I've witnessed, actually do like crazy things, make crazy plays on a daily basis and just be super consistent. And to play against, I'd have to say, I don't remember his name. I told all the scouts this too. Number 24 on TCU. He's a corner right now.
I think
But
it's like Travius Hodges Tomlinson or something like that.
yeah, that's number 1.
Oh,
He's a good player. He's a great player actually too. But number 24, he was probably like my most competition, I would say.
gotcha. I mean, TCU, them in
Yeah,
general is
yeah,
good competition.
most definitely.
TCU, some dogs, man. What are your plans for the NFL draft? You going to hang out with family, throw a little party? You going to be in attendance? What's your plan?
Oh yeah, I got some family out in Houston. That's where I'm at now. I just train out here. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely have a little spot. Just have family and friends come through, just to celebrate. Not too much, not too crazy. Just, like I said, a chill vibe, celebrate the accomplishments, and, hope for many more blessings, opportunities in the future.
Most definitely. What kind of advice can you give to anybody listening to this podcast? Maybe, they're scared to take that leap of faith. Maybe, they have an injury right now and, they're going through the same thoughts that you had, about their football career potentially being over. What, if you could give a piece of advice to anybody out here listening, what's your advice?
My main advice would be just to keep going. I know it sounds, regular, but it's a lot of people that give up and quit, and they never get to see what could have been or what would have been. So my biggest advice is just keep going. Treat every day like it's your last, like it could be your last. Every day you wake up, just like it's a new slate. You have the opportunity to create what you want for your future, and you just got to think of it, like I said, as being in the moment. Stacking every day by day, being consistent, and through consistency, I feel like that breeds confidence. So if you ever want to boost your confidence, just be consistent, and you'll thank yourself later for it. I think that the energy you feel from being consistent, will bleed into your play style or just whatever you do in life, your profession. And it'll give you a huge boost of confidence, and that's the main thing, man. Having that confidence, and believing that anything is possible, then you can take it anywhere from there.
Yes, sir. Braydon Johnson, before we let you go today, tell us where we can find you out on social media.
Oh yeah, social media, it's the same for everything. Glowing, GLOING_817. That's Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all of the above.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Braydon. We're super excited to see where you end up, man. Thank you so much for giving us about 20 minutes of your time today. I mean it. Talking for the listeners too, man. We're pumped for you. And this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I'm pumped you get to experience. So keep balling, keep doing your thing. And thank you so much for hopping on the show today.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Michael,
Yes.
for your time as well. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.